Now to the US, because Donald Trump has announced a surprise exemption for the UK for his latest tariff hike on steel and aluminium imports to the United States. The UK steel industry will still have to deal with levies of 25%, but the rest of the world now faces a 50% tariff after Mr. Trump's executive order just came into effect. Well, our correspondent Peter Bowes reports.
The initial bombshell for metal exporting countries came last week when Donald Trump appeared at a steel factory in Pennsylvania. He said the US would double tariffs on steel and aluminium imports from today.
A 25% increase. We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America, which will even further secure the steel industry in the United States. Nobody's going to get around that.
But with the document signed, making the policy official, the UK has got around it, at least for the time being. The President's initial announcement sent shockwaves through the British steel industry and other nations that sell metals to the US. But Donald Trump has agreed to treat the UK differently, holding tariffs at 25%. In large part, that's because of the trade deal reached last month between the two countries, although some of the details have still to be agreed. In the last few days, British officials met with their US counterparts to try to thrash out a better deal on steel, and the talks appear to have paid off. A government spokesperson said it was still hoped the tax would be completely taken away. We're pleased that as a result of our agreement with the US, UK steel will not be subject to these additional tariffs. We will continue to work with the US to implement our agreement, which will see the 25% US tariffs on steel removed. For its part, the Trump administration has warned that the UK must abide by the tariff relief deal, otherwise levies on British steel could rise again next month. For other countries and US consumers, the roller coaster ride continues. The on-again, off-again levies could prompt some of America's major trading partners to impose their own retaliatory taxes, while US factories that use imported metals are likely to pass on the extra costs to their American customers. Peter Bowes, BBC News, Los Angeles.
Well, in just a moment, we're going to get the latest on the impact on the UK. But I just want to tell you that moments ago in a post on Truth Social, Donald Trump said that I like President Xi of China. Always have, always will. But he is very tough and extremely hard to make a deal with. His caps lock, obviously. That update coming days after the US president accused China of violating an agreement to roll back tariffs and trade restrictions. So there, Donald Trump talking about China. Let's talk about the UK because Chris Southworth is Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce for the UK. Chris, welcome. Look, where are we with the tariffs and the United Kingdom? Because our understanding was that the UK had some form of an agreement, not a trade deal. Now we're talking about tariffs on aluminium. Just do you understand where we are?
It's incredibly difficult to keep track of, isn't it? I mean, I think in the short term, we're still on 25% tariffs on steel, steel and aluminium. So yes, there's a UK-US deal that's been negotiated. It's not actually a deal. It's more of a sort of an agreement, if you like, but it's not a trade deal as such. But it's in the short term, there's going to be continued uncertainty. That's very clear. And I think in a way, that's the bigger issue here is it's almost impossible for US producers, steel producers, and UK exporters to make any serious investment decisions on the future because it's just chopping and changing every single day. But for now, it's 25%. The pressure's on the government now to ratify that agreement so that the tariffs will go down to zero for UK steel, which will be good news.
So in realistic terms then, you're talking about that uncertainty. What are your members of the International Chamber of Commerce UK saying to you? Are they waiting? Are they pausing with any bigger decisions, or are they just going for it and fingers crossed it's going to be okay?
Yeah, there's a variety of things happening. Definitely investors will be pausing and just watching to see what happens. And that's not good news for anybody because that has a direct impact on growth, most of all a negative impact on the US. Other exporters are rerouting or buyers, they're rerouting supply chains outside of the US to de-risk their global supply chains and build more resilience into their business models. So we're seeing that as well. The legal cases, we shouldn't forget, that sprouted last week with 5 small companies in the US taking or threatening to take the US government to court. We're likely to see more of those coming. There's always a lag between legal cases from when decisions are made. So I would not be surprised if we start seeing commercial disputes coming into the courts against the US administration in the coming months. None of this is good for trade or business, because all it does is create a lot more uncertainty, and that's unlikely to go away in the short to medium term.
Just briefly, if you would then, when it comes to the UK government, are they getting it roughly right when dealing with the US?
Yeah, I think so. But it was pretty clear last week that the decisions coming out of the White House were sprung on everybody, and so I have great sympathy for the UK government, but any other government too. You were suddenly just told what's going on. There's clearly no consultation, so you're not able to plan, and then you're trying to go into negotiations. But I think the UK's doing a very good job, just quietly in the background, obviously talking to the US administration. The agreement, when it's ratified, will make a difference, but it is, at the end of the day, mostly damage limitation. What we really want to do is get beyond that and actually start talking about real trade deals, like the digital trade agreement, which has a huge potential to increase investment, finance, and make trade much cheaper, faster, simpler for everybody.
Yeah, and at the moment we're stuck on, as you say, damage limitation. Good phrase. Chris Southworth, Secretary General of the International Chamber of Commerce UK. Always good to get your thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stay